Welcome to Lesson 77, Inequalities with Negative Coefficients. Our objective is I can understand when to reverse a comparison symbol when solving inequalities. So with our inequalities, our properties hold true, right? So on the left, I have properties that we've learned before, and on the right, I have properties that are new to us. So in the old ones here, if A is equal to B, then if I add a number to each of them, they'll be equal. Okay, that makes sense, right? If 1 is equal to 1 and I choose to add 2, 1 plus 2 will certainly be equal to 1 plus 2. Okay, and that's the same with inequalities as well. And if A is equal to B and C is greater than 0, so if C is positive, then A times C will be equal to B times C, of course, right? 5 times 3 will be equal to 5 times 3. And that'll be the same with dividing, right? 5 divided by 3 will be equal to 5 divided by 3. Okay, let's look at our new properties now. So the new ones, if A is greater than B, then A plus C will be greater than B plus C. Okay, that makes sense, right? If I have 5 is greater than 4, then 5 plus 3 will definitely be bigger than 4 plus 3. And if 5 is greater than 4 and C is greater than 0, well, 3 is greater than 0, then is 5 times 3 bigger than 4 times 3? Yeah. And is 5/3 bigger than 4/3? Sure it is. However, whenever we have if A is equal to B and C is greater than 0, so if 5 is equal to 5 and negative 3 is less than 0, then 5 times negative 3 is equal to 5 times negative 3. Okay, that's true. 5 divided by negative 3 is equal to 5 times negative 3. Okay, that's true. However, let's say that we didn't flip the sign here. You may notice the signs are pointing the other direction now. Let's look at it. 5 divided, or let's see, 5 is greater than 4, and negative 3 is less than 0, then 5 times negative 3 and 4 times negative 3, 4 times negative 3, well, which one's bigger? Negative 12 or negative 15? Well, negative 12. Notice from the last screen we had to flip the sign. Same thing here. 5 divided by negative 3, 4 divided by negative 3. 4 over negative 3 will be bigger because it will be less negative than the other one. So if we multiply or divide by a negative, we have to flip our inequality sign. So let's try this. Let's multiply both sides by negative 1. Okay, 6 times negative 1, 5 times negative 1. This will be negative 6, and this one will be negative 5. Which one's bigger? Negative 5. See, we had to flip the sign to make it true. Now let's do a quick review of our battle for x. We want to break the barriers, combine like enemies, isolate enemies, and then eliminate. So what does that mean? That means that whenever we break the barriers, we want to get rid of grouping symbols, distribute across them if we can, or add and subtract inside of them if we can, just get rid of them. Then we want to combine like enemies. We want to get our like terms together and combine them together. Then we want to isolate, which means we want to move our variables to one side and everything else to the other side. Get those variables all alone. Then we want to eliminate. We want to divide by whatever's attached to our variable. So let's try one. Let's solve and graph it. So I don't have any barriers to break. I don't have anything that I can combine together, so I need to isolate. That's step 3. To do that, I'm going to move this 10 to the other side. Right now it's negative, so I need to add 10. I need to do the opposite to get it to the other side. the negative 10 and the positive 10 will cancel out, and I'll be left with negative 3x is greater than 8 plus 10 is 18. So now I'm here. We need to eliminate now by dividing both sides by negative 3. An alarm bell should be going off in your head. It's going ding, 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 ding. Whenever I'm dividing by a negative, I need to flip the sign. I need to flip the sign. Now let's solve and graph. So I'm going to graph. Here's my number line. Here we go. Negative 6, negative 7, negative 5. I want a hollow dot because it doesn't include negative 6, and an arrow pointing smaller than negative 6. So my graph is going to look like that. Now go ahead and pause the video and try this one on your own. Now that you've tried it on your own, let's do it together. I'm going to add 6 to both sides. 6's will cancel out, and I'll have negative 5x is greater than 5. Divide both sides by negative 5. And when I do that, I have to flip the sign. 5 divided by negative 5 is negative 1. So x is greater than negative 1. Now we graphed it. Ooh, I graphed it backwards. That's not good. Let's fix that. Negative 1, 0, negative 2. I want a hollow dot at negative 1, and all of the x is bigger than negative 1. So I'll draw my arrow. Let's do this one now. This time I have barriers to break. So I need to distribute to everything inside. When I do that, negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. Now I don't have anything that I can combine on each side. So now I need to isolate. I'm going to move all of my x's to the right, just because I like positive x's. Now I need to move everything else to the left by doing the opposite of it. So now I have 30 is greater than 10x. Divide both sides by 10. I divided by a positive number, so I don't need to change the sign. So let's sketch a quick graph. Here's 3, here's 4, here's 2. I want a hollow dot at 3, and I want all of the numbers smaller than 3. I want all of the x, because 3 is greater than x. Go ahead and pause the video and try this last one on your own. Now that you've tried it on your own, let's do it together. Negative 2x plus 3 is greater than or equal to, I need to distribute that negative. I got to break the barriers. Negative x plus 7. I don't have anything that I can combine on the same sides of the equation. So now I need to isolate. I'm going to move all my x's to the left. Why not? Let's do that. And I'm going to move everything else to the right. So negative 2x plus x is negative 1x. 7 minus 3 is 4. Now I just need to divide both sides by negative 1. When I do that, I have to flip the sign. And now I'll have negative 4 is greater than or equal to x, or x is less than or equal to negative 4. Now I can draw a graph. Here's negative 4, here's negative 5, here's negative 3. This time it does include -4, so I'm going to draw a solid dot. And x is smaller than -4, so I'm going to draw my arrow pointing to the left. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.